So the last piece of the PlayStation 5 is here. On October the 15th, we finally have a reveal of the user interface. Sony dropped a impromptu state of play today, showing us the user interface, and I think we need to cover some things about it. But first impressions are good. Sony promised us earlier this year that the user interface would be a departure from what we're used to as far as the old cross-media bar and the PlayStation 4's UI that we've grown so accustomed to over the years. And what we've seen so far, that is to be true. Sony has claimed that this UI has been built from the ground up with a user experience centered around the player. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of takeaways and things that I thought were interesting. Now, first impressions, as mentioned, I thought were good. I really like the dynamic appeal of this UI and how uncluttered some of the screens look. The home screen in particular is very uncluttered, and that does appeal to me in many, many ways. And, you know, this system, this UI has been tailored for 4K. This is a 4K user interface, and I think it's going to really shine when we start to see dynamic themes and things like that start to become available. The other thing that's interesting is Sony went for the rounded edges on all the menus this time around on the PS5, and rounded edges seems to be a very much a next-gen thing. Of course, Xbox has a similar thing with rounded edges on many of their controls as well, but I do appreciate that Sony did go the rounded edge look this time around. I think it looks cleaner, and it's definitely got that next-gen vibe to it as well. But let's jump into it. We got to see the system starting up from standby and into the control center, as it's known, which is essentially just a access to the system without having to leave the game. It's a centralized hub of different things that you can do while you're playing a game. And one thing that really stands out here is you can notice that the game is still playing in the background while the control center is being accessed, and I think that's very interesting. Usually in the past it would just, you know, pause the game or something along those lines, but the game, which is Sackboy's Adventure, is still playing in the background, which I think is kind of cool. And from here we get a glimpse at the activities menu, which is a tailored set of information on what objectives can be completed by the user and even how long that they may take based on data and information that has been captured by the system about the playing habits of the player itself. So essentially, this is a standardized way to handle game progress across the entire library. I do think that the personalized activities menu is interesting. I personally am a fan of having a tailored experience to the player. It really just kind of gives you a different look on the game itself. Some people that are concerned about data collection and stuff like that may be a little curious as to why this is happening, but I mean, look, this is the Sony PlayStation 5. We always knew going in that this would be something that would be a little bit different and would be a tailored experience for the user. But moving on, there is a lot more to cover here as well. And the next thing that I want to talk about is the ability to hop into a specific level via quick resume with the objectives. So if you've got a particular objective that's in your activities list, you can select that particular objective and then jump into it very quickly thanks to the power of the SSD. As well as this, you get the hint system, which is kind of cool. So PlayStation Plus members can get official hints. Now, the hints can be in the form of a video hint or something like a picture as well can be snapped during gameplay, which is kind of cool. I mean, if you're stuck on a game, you know, pulling up a quick video is nice. I've always, you know, when I've been stuck in a game, I usually just pull up my phone and bring up a YouTube video. Essentially, this is taking all those steps away from you and really just kind of throwing you into a very streamlined hint system, which I think can be kind of cool. It is only for PlayStation Plus members, however, and that may be an issue to some people that don't want PlayStation Plus. But I mean, I think PlayStation Plus these days is something that most people will get with a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5. But moving along, you can also share and watch what your friends are playing through the share screen, and you can chat to them as they're playing the game as well. So the stream itself can be snapped picture in picture, and this is something that may be familiar to Xbox fans, that they may recall that the Xbox Snap feature, or the Xbox Snap That feature, originally came out for the Xbox VCR back in 2013, but it was probably a feature that wasn't quite ready at the time. But now, thanks to next-gen fast SSDs and whatnot, faster internet these days, a snapping feature does make a lot more sense. And I personally aren't someone that is going to be big on a feature like that, but it's kind of cool if you're playing a game while you're hanging out with a friend and you just want to watch them play a game. That would be a really cool feature to have while you're playing through your game. Now, Control Center also allows you to start a new game and join a friend's game immediately. And we got another look at the power of the SSD. Now, assuming that this was not edited, I took a stopwatch to the amount of time it took to start Destruction All-Stars, and it was less than 10 seconds, which is pretty incredible stuff. Now, again, I want to say that I'm assuming that this was not edited, but you know, it sounds about right for what we know about the SSD that comes with the PlayStation 5 internally. Now, also moving along, we also got a look at the PlayStation 5's ability to create things like screenshots and videos in game, and everything can be captured all the way up to 4K. We also get a look at the home screen, and this is where we can see that the games and media have their own spaces this time around, which is a really nice feature. On the PlayStation 4, they all lived on the same menu. Now, you could have created a folder on the PS4 and moved everything to kind of have less clutter, but I do really appreciate the fact that games is its own menu, and it's the first menu on the system because that's what the majority of us want. We don't really care about the media features as much, we just care about the game. So having that front and center as a part of the home screen when you first power on a PS5 and jump into the UI is a really cool thing, and I really appreciate Sony for doing that. And of course, the Sony PlayStation Store is still there, but it is now integrated into the user interface. It's not its own app like it was on the PS5, and you know, it will show you the latest deals that you can pick up, new games, all that stuff, demos and everything. So with that all said, what are my impressions of this user interface? I think it's clean, I think it's simple, and I think it's elegant, and I really do like it. I like the fact that the control center now is the main hub for everything during the game. And I'm a fan of how Sony built this UI to be different, to be tailored for the PlayStation 5. It's not a radical departure from the PS4, but it is different enough for it to be its own thing. And I really love the fact that this UI was built for 4K displays and takes advantage of the power of the SSD. And what I mean by that is that you should never be waiting around too long to do anything in this particular UI, specifically loading games and doing other things. It's always going to be very responsive, very snappy, and I think Sony has definitely made the right choices here with this user interface. But of course, this is Sony and it's a controlled demonstration. It would have been nice to have seen more. The system menu and the ability to confirm the amount of usable storage. I think that's something that a lot of us are still asking questions about. We've heard rumors that it's around 664 gigabytes of the 825 of total space, but it would be nice to have that confirmation. But that has never been the Sony way. I do think now we are at the point where Sony has shown us everything with the PlayStation 5 that they want to, and now it's on to launch. So with that said, guys, what do you think about the user interface on the PS5? I think it's a 2 thumbs up. I'm very, very impressed with what I've seen with the user interface. It's simple, it's clean, it's fast, it has some really cool features for the game player. I just get more and more excited about the PlayStation 5, and I can't wait for launch in November. Well guys, I'm going to leave it here for this video. Let me know your thoughts about the PS5 UI in the comments below. If you like this video, leave me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.